Alright guys, it's about time we make a video about the gears in this game, how to upgrade it, how to notice which one is good and which one is bad, and where to get the materials to upgrade them. So first things first, as you may notice, there are three types of gears in this game. It's the blue colored, elite or rare. Then there is epic one, the purple. This is my favorite gears to farm actually right now because it's hard to get the legendary, and the orange one or yellow ones are legendary gears which are the best, but it's so hard to get a good piece. You're usually better upgrading the epic ones. But the second thing I want to talk about is main stat versus substat. This main stat is your best source of improving champions, and the main stat is usually the top value here. I mean always. So it's 313 attack here, 1500 something health here on the helm, and defense on the chest, right? You should notice about this main stat that these top three items, the sword or weapon, head and chest piece, they are always flat, so they will strengthen your champions, but when your champions are level 60, you will get much more better gain from the main stats of the three bottom items. So keep in mind you want to upgrade these items first, like on my hackern here I have these items at plus 15 and these are at plus 12. I'm keeping this at plus 12 because the substats are not so good, so I'm hoping to get another piece on this champion by time. So the top one is main stat, and these are the substats which you can, you press this enhance button, you can just improve these stats. It is only, the substats are only improved on plus 3, plus 6, plus 9, plus 12 and plus 15, but these main stats, they improve during the process. So you can even, when you lack resources but still want to make somebody stronger, you can just get some of these bottom items to plus 13 or something like that, and you will still see some increase in the main stat here. Alright, so I think these are the basics of what is main stat and substat. I think it's better to say like the blue ones start with 2 substats and it can roll in up to 4. The epic gear starts with 3 and can roll with also up to 4. So if you roll it once into great substat, then you can just roll it with no worry that it will get into wrong stat. Like this is one of the best plus 15 blue items I have when you have everything you want. Just the set is not the right for Hakrin, but I don't really care at this point. Yeah, and the legendary gears come with 4 right from the bat. It comes with 4, so it's much easier to find. It's much easier to not roll the bad legendary gears you have. You usually want to roll 3 plus great substats on the legendary item and improve only if it goes really well. If you fail and go into the bad stat, like for example the weaker stat here is defense flat, so if I rolled like plus 2 straight from the start, then I think I wouldn't continue with this item and just skip on to another one. But it also depends how many items you have, and if you really like items, especially at the beginning of the game, then you might use just everything you get your hands on, you know. So let's jump onto this scheme right here. This is just list of substats you can have on offensive gear. These are the substats you want to look for. Like crit rate is always the first one, because you want on every damage dealer 100% crit rate, and before you get that, it's usually a waste to get another stats. So always go for crit rate first, crit damage second, and attack third. Speed is also very good, so you can go for gear with attack, speed, and also precision is very good. But I just yeah, it's usually the best one is on the top, and the worst one is or the situational one like focus I put on the bottom. So you always want to look for these three on some pieces you have. You want to upgrade the pieces which have like two of these, and yeah, hope it will land on them to +2 and +3. On the defensive gear, you want the other part, so health percent, defense percent, and resistance percent, because you will get much more benefit than these health flat and defense flat. But it's still not a disaster when you have these health flat stats on the gear. But I put it on the lower tier here. You want to have it on the item, but let's say as the fourth stat, or you don't want to roll into this, but it's still better to have on defensive item, let's say health flat instead of attack flat or focus. I mean, focus can be used on tanks, but you get the point. Okay, so this is usually your early mid game items on offensive champs. So you get bunch of 5-star, 4-star, 6-star, maybe legendary gear, but maybe blue ones from the start, and 6-stars, 5-star, 6-star legendary from the rewards or some contest events and whatever. And yeah, these are the sets to look for offensive champs. Obviously warrior is one of the best, rage and raider. You will don't get that many new sets from cursed and avarice. As far as I know, it's only in the higher mythic, and I'm not sure how much farmable it is now at this stage of the game, because they changed it a lot. And you don't want to use much of these 4-star pieces on the bottom, on the boots, ring and necklace. And yeah, these will be also your defensive gears. But guys, remember, always offense first. It's so much important in this game. You have to usually, in the Void Tower now, you have to kill before get killed. So I think you should spend like 3 times as much resources on offensive gears instead of on the defensive ones. But once you need to start building some arena defense, you will just put some 5-star, 6-star gears on your champs and make it +6, +9, whatever. And yeah, you look for Terra Raider and Vanguard geared at the beginning, but once you start farming dungeons, then you should switch to the specialize. And also look for warrior things in the Queen 12 and cursed pieces. I would say you need like 1 or 2 entire sets of cursed pieces with good main stat and substats. You don't have to care about the main stats on the top row of the gears, but again, this is so important to get the good main stat on the boots, on the ring and on the neck. On the boots you are looking for speed and also for attack percent. And on the ring it's super important to get crit rate first, because if you don't upgrade your crit rate rings, then it's almost impossible to get to 100% crit rate, which is essential to have some stable assassins. So you might still roll some pieces with great substats and main stat crit damage or attack later on, but you would need, let me show you exactly what I mean. Like let's say this Natalia, okay, she has crit rate, but I was using, because I was lacking items, so I used some cursed item with crit damage. And because I had so low crit rate before, I just upgraded this 5-star legendary. Otherwise I stay away from these 5-star legendary, but I think head and chest are usually the only pieces you want to upgrade, even though it's 5-star, because especially for assassins it just defends and it doesn't add much, also the health. So you might still want to roll that, and look at that, it landed +4 on crit rate, which is a pretty rare piece. It's the only +4 piece I have to this day, and I rolled really a lot of items. So you might want to use this, or on my other account, for example, Zatlux, he doesn't need that much crit, so he has this crit damage ring with a lot of attack, but you also want to, if you want to go for attack or crit damage on the main stats on ring, you still want to upgrade pieces which have crit rate as the substat. And if you roll like twice or 3 times into crit rate, you are just perfectly alright. And yeah, Zatlux is also the one who is using my 5-star legendary gear, because it's so hard to get decent helmet and chest on this account. I don't know why, but as you can see, it's almost perfect stats, legendary 5-star. So this will be used up to really high late game. I still use him in Void Towers, hard Void Tower 70 levels now. So you get the point, it's super important to have balanced gear. But let's get back to the scheme here, and yeah, on the necklace you want to use attack most of the time. Sometimes focus, but I didn't even put it here because it's too much situational. You would only use it for some Tia or Myla or some other mass CC champion. So it's not so important, and it's also hard to get some focus piece with very offensive, good offensive substats. Yeah, for the defensive items, you go for the main stat with percent health, percent defense, and sometimes speed on the boots. It depends what you need in arena defense. Sometimes you want one guy who is much more speedy than the others, and he just cuts the enemy turns. Otherwise the enemy can do whatever he wants and doesn't even have to use stun. So it's usually better to have somebody with high speed into arena. And talking about speed main stat on boots, it's usually better to just go for full raider items set with let's say percent def or health for tank, because you will get so much speed and also you will get much more defense. Like it's very close. You can do it even on the damage dealers. You can have full raider items and attack boots, and they will be closer to maximizing their damage output, because you will get 50% attack for 45 speed, and if you do it otherwise, if you do, let's say, full warrior set and go for speedy boots, then you will get 45% attack and 50 speed. So you might overcook the speed a little bit, but it's just for a really late game maximizing your champs and gear. I even put it here in the picture, the 5-star legendary, so you know you can use them. And because it's so hard to get good main stat and substat late game gear, I also put some blue items here, because you would want to roll everything in the lower rows. That's why I'm using still to this day, I'm using the Hackering blue boots. It's just so hard to get some better ones, especially with speed and these defensive substats. So keep that in mind, and I think now is the time to show you what to do with the gear you collect. So yeah, this guy has all of everything plus 15. Let's just go to the gear manager and see if we have something to improve. Yeah, I overcooked a little bit this sword. It's not so good, but I might want to roll it once more. Usually you want to roll everything to +3 just to see where the first stat goes. If it's a blue item, like this is not a good combo, you can just recycle that. And yeah, these might be good, but if the first roll goes into, let's say, defense flat, then you just recycle that gear. Let's see. Yeah, this was perfect item, but it went into health. But I might actually roll it to +6, and if it keeps on rolling onto the good stats, I will keep that. But yeah, you don't want mixed stats of offense and defense on same items. It's good at the early game, but later on it just doesn't make sense. You want to specialize much more. Even focus and health flat is not enough. So basically on the blue gear, if you look at this graph here, on the blue gear you go only to the top three things, and if you don't get them to like +1/+1 at the second roll, then you just forget the item and re-roll that later on. Yeah, I have so many of these. Yeah, usually if you can think of a best scenario of who would use this sword, it's usually Zack, and he cannot crit, so this doesn't make sense. Even if it was the defense flat, it doesn't make sense. There's nobody who would use this item. Also, when I'm looking at the precision, I always reroll items with precision and agility. You just don't want that on one champion. I don't think it's worthy. Yeah, and these are automatic destroying. You just see two stats flat, and you just go for it and destroy that. And yeah, you also get some main stat improvement here, but it's not so high. So you might want to roll some items like I just did, but most of the time I just like to upgrade these epic items. I mean, this is 5-star, so I will just recycle that by time. But it has speed, and these items are hard to get, some raider items with enough speed. So you don't have to switch them all the time. So let's look for another items which we can, yeah, this one is definitely gonna get re-rolled. This thing, you can keep that, but you will be so angry when it rolls into defense flat, so it's just better to run a piece with some focus over health %. Yeah, these are not so good items. Okay, this is good. You can lock that even here. If you find something very great, it just steadios and it takes a lot of time. You can just choose all the blue gear in one click, but yeah, I don't recommend that, because if you fail some items, let's say this +3, and then you can just improve other items, you still get 60% of resources you spend on this. So it's very economically and efficient to just not use your precious charms, but instead use these gears. Yeah, let's find some more of these. Yeah, this one is good. Might block that. Alright. I have so many weapons, I just have to clear them, and it seems like I never find time to do it. So I might better do it right now. This is a good item. Also good one, only the roll is a little bit lower. You want something like this instead. So yeah, we are at +12 right now. This is a keeper maybe. Now we enhance that, and yeah, it went into the bad flat health. That's why I want to have resistance instead of flat health on an item most of the time. So yeah, this is how I basically clear all of my gears. I think you should keep most of the epic items, but it's just full inventory of items. I cannot even farm before I clear those, so that's my take on this. And let's talk a little bit about where to get your resources, because a lot of people are bottlenecking on the gold. This is an entire free to play account, and I used almost all of my charms, and I still have over 3 million gold basically. So where do I get my gold? I don't reroll this thing anymore, and if there's some blue glyph appearing, I just skip that and don't buy that. That's a way how to save your gold, because you will get some blue glyphs on the mythic campaign, and you don't want to overspend. You will still go there to farm the better glyphs, so you don't want to spend gold on that. So this is the first way to get extra gold. Another thing is doing dispatches, because you will get some extra gold here. So make sure you do them. Then after you finish bounty hunts, or if you are sure you cannot progress with the bounty hunts, you just blitz that for extra gold, and it's huge income, especially on the start. It was one of the first things which helped me when I was bottlenecking on gold. And now let's talk about endless trial, because I usually go for 70, like almost every time, to get more 6-star gears, and now it takes only 30 minutes more than the 50 level, which is crazy. And in this endless trial, you want to get as many fights as possible, but you may choose these guys, but it's much better to fight these guys, the warrior goblins, because they get these advanced charms and even more trial tokens. So you want to get as many fights with these guys as possible. Also, you can look for some extra gold, but I just did it when I was completely desperate about gold, but now I'm just not doing it. Sometimes you want to open these boxes for mysterious coupons, but you just always check them, and usually you go for the fights, you know. And let's open the trial shop here. You can even get some charms, but its value is not so good. I usually go for these arcanas, or you might even go for meal coupon, which is still a good value, I think. Yeah. So there you have it, guys. I think it's everything I have to say about the items here. I would say wait a bit on the bad items. If they roll bad, you just skip them. It's the hardest part of upgrading items. And yeah. And then the farming, it's just so much time consuming to farm some S-grade gears. I have only like 3 S-class legendary gear on 2 accounts up to this date, which is crazy. In the offensive side, I mean, some defensive I have so much more items. It seems like it drops more. But always invest into offensive first, and you should be good. And try to stick to epic gears, because they seem like the most value to me. Alright, and that's about everything I have to say, and have a good day.